right, welcome to the very first League Community Podcast. I am Dylan Most Dirty from the NA Community Team, and with me today is the wonderful Patrick Skarzard Scarborough as my co-host. Today, we're lucky enough to have the gameplay lead for the Champion Update team, Mark Yetter, aka Riot Scruffy. We're going to get to know him just a little bit, talk about some of the work the Champ Up team's done this year, and if we're lucky, maybe get an early peek at the upcoming Poppy Update. All right.
I didn't know when it begins.
So first things first, I got to get to know you at least a little bit, Mark. So tell us, what planet do you hail from?
Yeah.
Planet Earth. Actually, I'm kind of boring in that way, but
where are the Yazbek?
The
where
Yazbek
does that come
clan?
from? That's
my middle name being Yazbek, which is like a. It is the name. It's the first name of the Lebanese side of my family. My grandfather on that side.
Okay.
So that's where that comes from. It is a very strange name.
He sounds like a wizard.
It's kind of wizard-like, and he goes by, his wife would call him Yaz, like the short nickname. I don't go by Yaz.
Oh, he sounds like a little goblin.
As soon as, but then there was like
a
a birth control or something, or I forget what it was. Yaz came out like in 2000, whatever, some point in the last 10 years, and I'm like, nope, no more Yaz.
Yeah, we're moving away.
I'm done.
From the Yaz.
I'm done with that.
All right, for reals though, where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in Houston, Texas. I had a big family. When I say I have a big family, I mean I definitely had a big family. I had
it's just like part of Texas, right? Isn't that
It kind of the sort of everything's bigger in Texas thing, but like not always. But my family was definitely big. I had 6 brothers, no sisters. That was amazing.
Poor mother.
That's what everyone says, but I don't know. I had a blast.
What do you mean?
I was
I bet you did.
Did you guys like play sports, but like only with one another? Like you just drafted teams of yourselves?
Pretty much. Like the experience that you imagine. Oh, I'm gonna go.
It's the Houston Yazbeks.
Yeah.
They're real good this year.
We would, because you just take I'm the second oldest, right? So me and my one older brother, we'd be like team captains,
right?
And just start picking.
So it says here on the sheet that Dylan prepared that you liked math.
God, Patrick.
And so like how many times did you avoid getting beat up like on the regular?
It wasn't that bad. I mean, I was a nerdy kid, but it wasn't like, luckily I didn't have any sort of, weird bullying experiences or whatever. But I was like, ever since pretty early on in like elementary school and middle school, I was like a kind of a math, you might say whiz kid, but more of a nerd. But like, I'd do these like silly math competitions or like logo. I don't know if you guys know what logo was. It was like 90s programming competitions where you had the little turtle and you say go forward 20, 90, like right turn 45.
You say this like we're supposed to know.
You guys don't know what this is.
So this is like, God. I'm super dumb.
Okay.
And so not only am I already over here like, damn, what's a math competition like? You're talking about like mind controlling a turtle.
So this is like
in some form.
They called it a turtle. So this is like it's almost like a
I didn't
game.
expect this to go anywhere.
This I saved this one for you guys. No, this is like it's like a game, but it teaches elementary school kids like basic programming. And so it's a black screen, and on the middle of it you have like a little white arrow. Looks like the asteroids.
Oh yeah, all right. So it looks like.
And
one of
you
those.
input commands that are basically programming. You say go for, and so they give you puzzles. They're like make a star, and so you're like, okay, go forward. Go forward 50, right turn 60 degrees, go forward 50, right turn 60, that type of thing. And then if you're advanced, you can do things like loops and,
Okay, so you are from a big family in Texas, and you created stars with your mind.
That's right.
That's okay. That's
out there. There's that one listener out there right now who's like, I was in that program too.
Like,
I know. It was
and he's
it was
coming for you. But he now
for
knows
real,
where
though,
you are.
Yeah.
For real though, Mark, you're gonna tell me you played the trumpet and you didn't get beat up?
Yeah, no, it was.
Yo,
all right.
I'll jump in to defend you, man. I'm a tuba. Yo, brass.
Boom.
Let's go.
Brass is,
Let's make it
Okay,
happen.
but also, since we're referencing my notes, Patrick, you've left out the best part, haven't you? It's I have something here about some eccentric music tastes. Why don't you tell us about that?
yeah. Well, this isn't like me growing up. This is like me now.
Yeah, we're moving forward.
Aren't we all growing
jumping
up
through
all the time?
I know.
Though, Mark?
Right. First thing is logo. Now it's like here. So like I can't really claim credit for this because I think it's really cool. And this is me thinking it's cool because I can't claim credit for it. But like my wife got me into this super awesome genre of music called outrun. And like most people have probably heard Outrun, but they don't know it by that name. It's like 80s retro synth.
Okay.
And mixed with modern EDM or whatever, like modern electronic shit.
Right. Yeah. I think what the example you gave was like Hotline Miami.
Yes, the entire soundtrack
just
of Hotline
literally,
Miami.
If you know
is
nothing
Outrun.
else, that and then like imagine every like bad 80s movie trailer
Yes.
you've ever heard.
Yes.
And then but like cooler.
Well, right, and it's even got this whole like, because it's this combination of like the retro thing and like the modern thing. It's got this whole aesthetic and like you if you've seen like Kung Fury or something, and that movie was cheesy. I didn't really like, but like that is a Outrun aesthetic with these over the top dudes and headbands and like a lot of cars and explosions and stuff like that.
I can just see you at your desk, just bouncing your head up and down. Really,
Right.
People
Like,
tap you. Hey, Margany, what?
Yeah, it's pretty good working music. It's like if
Sure.
you want to like get to work with some Outrun, you put on like a full album of like some Outrun artists like Perturbator. You put on sunglasses with like the oil slick.
Yeah.
It's got to have the oil slick. And
I'm with it. This is what I need to add to my routine. So where I kind of want to go with things is I assume you play video games. I don't know. I've never actually seen it.
Occasionally.
I can't possibly know. No, well,
A lot,
I
actually.
assume you went to college, but I want to know, like, tell me about the whole like blossoming gamer college person that was Mark Yetter, right? Because you're here now as a designer. And clearly there's some leap to get there.
Yeah, at some point after all the turtles and the trumpets, you found video games.
Right. Well, and being
You
a
found
game
the one
designer,
true
game
Lord
designers
and
are like
Savior.
the most video games people that exist. Right.
Yeah.
They're like so deep. We're like 7 Inceptions deep inside the game. So like, I mean, I was always into games as a kid. My parents were like, they were good parents. They wanted me to focus and study and do all this stuff. So I didn't have a ton of access, but I had my PC, I had my Nintendo 64 at one point, and all those games like really inspired me, even though I hadn't really gotten to the point where I was like super deep in it.
I won't go too deep, but favorite N64 game.
Oh man, I like a lot, but honestly, Ocarina of Time, like Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, just made me
There it is. God bless.
Oh my god,
For sure, man.
I was like, this is real. I'm like, this is all real. I don't care about the world anymore.
It was
over.
so risky too, because you're like, this is the first 3D adventure game of this kind, right? Especially for that franchise.
Well,
And you look at
I
it, you're
didn't
like,
have
whoa.
like a Super Nintendo or a Nintendo, so I hadn't actually been
You just went
familiar.
straight in.
Yeah, this was my first Zelda game.
Wow.
So I'm like, is this what Nintendo games are like?
That's what they were doing. They were just scrolling between screens. Like I saw the first Legend of Zelda, and it's just the just like octagons are on the screen, and people are like, it's gonna take your hammer, so swing around and hit the back corner. You're like, how do people know this stuff? What's going on? And then I'm with it.
It was like, and it's funny because Nintendo 64 was a great platform as well for multiplayer games, and you play with 4 people. We had Smash Brothers, we had GoldenEye, and I have 6 brothers, and so I had to convince them that no, it's rather than playing Smash Brothers with me, you're going to enjoy it more. This is mostly my younger brothers.
Yeah.
Watching me play Zelda.
Yeah.
Because there was no other way.
Everybody's waged that
It's like a
battle.
movie. It's like a movie starring their older brother. That's perfect.
It's
man.
it's a perpetual battle to get the younger brother to be happy just watching you, and then also trying to not murder them when they delete your entire Star Fox 64
my
save,
God.
which happened to me one time.
If we
my
keep
Lord.
talking about deleted save files, I'm out of here.
Getting
Look,
chills.
I'm too scarred. I'm still not over it. Yeah.
So you got into League. Did you get right into the games industry out of college? Or were you doing other stuff?
I didn't. I went at school, I had a computer science degree.
Gotcha.
And that led to, and so I have a computer science degree. I'm at Harvard, right? And it's like super, I know, sorry, dropping the H bomb. Let's get past that quickly. And
This freaking guy.
and
Podcast over.
Let's not make it a thing. Let's just
and so like Harvard is a very serious school with a lot of serious like people, and like their computer science program was great. And I'm like getting heavily recruited by places like Google and Microsoft and Facebook at the time, which was very cutting edge. And it's like, okay, and everyone's like, this is like where all the exciting stuff is. These are big tech companies. These are the innovators. I'm like, okay, then I should, I'm going to give this a shot, right? It seemed very, very appealing, very sort of challenging. I'm like, oh, this seems very legit.
Right.
Even though in the back of my mind, I'm like, but I kind of wish I was playing games because I'd go home every day and play games.
Yeah.
And so
what
I
do you
end
do
up
when you're
working-
not working for us? Well, just mostly playing video games every second of every day.
Exactly. And that was like, and you could tell when the 9 other people sitting around you aren't doing that. You're like, okay, I think I'm cut from the different cloth.
It's like I've had that experience sometimes where I'm kind of hanging out with people and they aren't into games, and it's like cool, I'm not like I don't like lack the ability to converse with them, but then when they start talking about like their plans, I'm like, whoa, your days sound like so full. Like you just have so many different things you're gonna do. I'm just like, I'm good on a weekend to be like, let's just grind some rank games. I'm going to block out a couple hours. We're going to play some League of Legends. We're going to do that for a while. And people are like, I visited the museum. Then I went to the beach. I'm like, oh, no, I got to go back.
I have that issue every day with my wife.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, man, this video game, I had such a great, don't care.
Yeah. Honey, what'd you do today? It's probably better if you don't know.
Nothing is as great as the empty schedule, just sitting in front of you on Saturday.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Don't even get dressed.
No.
Or is that just me?
Yeah.
No, that's
I'm not dressed now. People can't see, and that I thought that was the big draw.
Patrick, this is T for teen.
Yeah. Oh, right. Well, I have a leaf. Then I suppose. I think
you're
that's
like
how it
our
works.
casters. They don't wear pants, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's easy. It's hot.
All right. So Mark, I hear you did a little bit of so you're talking to us about how you did your you gave it the old college try, trying to work in some more traditional employment.
Right.
What kind of stuff did you do there?
I did like typical sort of software development stuff when I was working at Microsoft, and it was like server software and algorithms that help determine the best match of like ad deliveries for your preferences or your history. Very exciting. No, not exciting.
So you're printing money for some guy.
Well, yeah, that was like, it's a kind of a problem to solve, like a computer problem to solve. But at some point, like those, like, I kind of like personally felt like, getting a task and doing it is like, it's almost like your schoolwork. It's like your homework. And I wanted to kind of get more involved in like, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? Feel engaged in the decision making.
How long did you end up doing that?
I did that for about 2 years.
Okay, that's a pretty long amount of time.
Well, and I didn't. This is not. I'm not yet in the game industry. So,
right.
So and then for about another year, not quite as long, I worked for like a hedge fund, a high frequency trading hedge fund. So these are the type of.
Oh, I see.
This is the type of financial institution that like makes algorithms that sort of look for tiny, like less than a penny optimizations, and then it's like, oh, I'm going to make 1/100th of a penny 100 times a second, and then that amounts to hundreds of thousands of dollars a day.
Wow, I made the printing money joke, but that actually is.
That basically
Holy
is
crap.
printing money. And that was, as it sounds, it's lucrative, but it was way less exciting. And I was just, it was great though, because like I appreciate everything that happened to me because it really got me to where I am.
Yeah.
And
Turtles.
Right, the turtles,
the
logo,
trumpets,
yeah, the
football,
trumpets, and
printing
then it was
money.
Like, but that really made me, I wake up every day and I'm like, oh, I just didn't want to go into my sort of 9 to 5, and it was really, and that made me say, you know what, like screw it, I really need to like get into the game industry, no matter what. And so I like applied to every single game company I could find, like every single one, which is the right strategy for anyone out there that wants to get into the game industry.
Yeah.
Don't be picky.
If you only make a single resume and you send it into Riot Games and you don't hear anything back and you're like, well, that's it for me in the game industry. It's like, nah, man, you gotta.
That's like you play
many.
the lottery once and you don't win, and you're like, well.
No one
actually,
can
no
ever
one should,
win the lottery.
I'm not saying. I feel like I just led people into thinking they should play the lottery a lot, and then
Yeah.
they're gonna win.
Yeah.
It's
What
like,
is wrong with you?
You
T for teen, gentlemen.
You should play every lottery.
that's the message here.
No,
That's the
it's
message.
not the message.
Degenerate
Bad-
gambler,
Bad
Mark Yetter.
analogy.
Did
Right.
you ever consider turning your penny counting money making thing into a game? Did you ever consider like
cookie
designing an interface for them?
That's interesting. I didn't.
That was
I
like
didn't
when this
own
duck makes
that
it across the
fund.
street, we get $1,000. Make the duck go there.
That would have made things a lot more interesting. That's for sure. But yeah, so at this point, I'm like, I kind of both transitioned to the game industry and from being a sort of a software engineer, or programmer, to a game designer.
Okay.
And I went to this kind of medium size and honestly medium success sort of AAA studio in Texas called Timegate Studios, and I worked on some games in this is like 2009-ish that were like these sort of big open spaces, kind of tribes, kind of Halo, armored soldier, futuristic shooter games.
Yeah, make like some low poly environment.
Yeah.
Put man with gun in it.
Jetpacks required,
Yeah, just some form of
Make it look
BFG.
space enough to kind of be Halo.
There's lasers and there's, pretty
And do
much.
things. And you did make one of those games. I forget the name of it.
It was called Section 8.
Section 8, right. I only remember seeing like the trailers for it. It's like there's bad guys and something about the government, probably aliens as well, and here's a lightning gun. And then I would tune out after that.
I mean, it was a super amazing learning experience for me. And the first year in the industry is like, oh my God, like I would never regretted a single day of it. I was just so happy, even though this was like the, very, very generic, very straightforward product. That was like, I knew I wasn't going to be like pushing the limits of what games can do, but it was like really, really great experience.
Right. So yeah, I guess I'll re-ask the question, but you said like that's kind of where you got your start, right?
Yeah, that's where I got my start.
But how long were you there? What was kind of the next step? Because I don't think you came to Riot immediately after.
No, and that was a start. That's a good way to put it. And I was there for like roughly 2 years, I think slightly more, and then, but I kind of knew I wanted to push myself. I wanted to do just greater things. I wanted to make no one goes into making games and they're like, I want to make average games or, mediocre games. I want to make the best games.
There's someone out there right now listening whose dream is to make only average games.
No,
Mark.
I've been there.
You need to respect
I've been there and no one thinks that. I know.
I'm dreaming of making an average game this moment.
Listen, Mark, we can't all be Harvard grads, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, even maybe if you're trying to make like Flappy Bird or something, Burns.
Yo, damn, Flappy Bird has a family, dude. You can't just. Wow. I guess the Angry Birds. I don't know. I imagine there's a canon.
Angry Birds and Flappy Bird are not related. I'm
but
sorry
they
to
could be.
inform
What
you.
if they were?
What?
I know.
My life is
You've ruined my.
All right, but yeah. So you're saying what you don't. So where did you go to make not average games?
Right. So then I went
above
to
average games.
I went to Treyarch and I worked on, and so
good-
I was
that's a
on
good
that
one.
sort of that I was making shooters and I had become pretty good at it, and I'm like, oh, this is a great way to sort of level up what I'm already learning.
Treyarch, for the people that don't know, made the Call of Duty Black Ops
Franchise, yeah.
series.
Yes.
Right, which is like a franchise within a franchise.
It is that.
Yeah. And
It's
then
like
what
Call
they
of
were,
Duty, already hardcore.
Is that
and
the
make it
one when
even
zombies
more
appeared?
hardcore.
Yes.
as well?
Yeah.
Because I only knew that my younger brother actually ended up being like a high-rated Call of Duty player, and all he would ever play with his friends are zombies.
Zombies,
And
yeah.
I was just very confused because
he
I
was
was
into
like,
Black Ops.
this is Black Ops, but are they like... Is it like Van Helsing, or like are they
It's like-
vampire hunters?
No,
like, what's
it's like ARAM. It's like a totally
No, they were
different...
Nazi zombies, right?
Yes, they were.
For
Nazi
my money,
zombies.
the best time in gaming.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
It was,
Well,
it was a total offshoot. They were like, here's the real game where you're like serious.
and then here's the kind of
military
insane,
dudes. Yeah, and here's the
wacky
silly
part
thing.
of it.
Yeah.
So you're there and you're making that game.
Right. And so I was a
Did you get to
I was
work on
a-
the zombie
I
attack?
didn't work on the zombies part. I did the multiplayer.
Oh, okay.
And so which was like really the kind of core like
Part of the experience.
legs of that game, right? It was like you would play zombies though had some pretty good legs. You play a really exciting and really polished and like so much work goes into it, like 6-hour campaign, and then you're done with it, and then you go
Hey,
play
man.
multiplayer.
I like the stories.
Hey, me too, but pound for pound, dev hour to play hour, that's tough.
Yeah.
Plus,
but
I
then-
can beat the computer.
Well,
Other
that's true.
players,
That's true.
especially in shooters, man. You go online for the first time, and it's just like, what?
This is how,
How
those
are you
players
so
feel
good
about
at
League
this
of Legends,
game?
though. Yeah.
Everyone on the enemy team is 14, and they're all masters. They're all just.
That's how it feels sometimes. Yeah.
It's insane.
Right.
So how did you end up making that transition? Because that seems like your goal was to make an above average game.
Yeah.
You landed a job doing exactly that.
Right.
Right. And then you came here, working on another above average game.
Right.
Maybe. But like how was that? How did you cross?
Yeah,
over?
shooters to League. What happened there?
Right, and that's actually
It's a genre shift.
And so, like, let's take ourselves back in time again. Like, I was making a lot of shooters.
I love Mark Yetter's past.
I know, right?
That's where I want to live.
It's like the ghost of Mark Yetter's past.
Mm-hmm.
And like, even though I was pretty good at, and I really enjoyed shooter games, and I had a lot of experience making them, like my passion, like back in my, college days and stuff, like the games I really loved were like these RPGs and these MOBAs. And so like I had been playing League of Legends while I was, working on Call of Duty. I had been super into, all these different MOBA games. And I thought, this is what I love. This is like a new frontier for me. I think I'd be good at it, right? I played a lot of it. I was pretty familiar with the game. And so I'm like, when my friend, like a game dev friend, was like, oh, I'm talking to Riot. I want to introduce you to some people and, get a tour, meet some Riot devs. I was like, yes, I am totally into that.
Yeah. And so I kind of remember this is my experience. You showed up and I was like, okay, his name is Scruffy, but he doesn't have a beard. I took offense to that. I still, to someday, you're a little more scruffy now.
I do stubble more than beard.
Yeah. Riot stubble, perhaps a little different. No, but I remember
that same
you were on. You would just kind of join the team, and they were like, "Oh yeah, Mark, he's here for like a little bit, and then maybe he'll move on to some other teams. We don't really know." And then it was like after the end of like only a couple months, they were actually like, "No, we're gonna make this team that makes reworks." Which, I was like, "Whoa, that's a huge step. That's crazy, actually." Yeah. And so tell me about like the kind of formation of what is now Champion Update, right? Like how you kind of got into the whole reworks deal.
And this is actually, there's even a little more to this story that makes it kind of interesting, is that,
do tell.
No.
Right, the secrets behind the curtain. So it's like, Riot is like this really, kind of fresh startup. It feels like it's a young company, and I'm coming in, and there's not a ton of Riot designers that had a lot of experience in just making other types of games and sort of that breadth.
This is 2013, I think.
Yeah, this is 2013.
Yes, this is
still
two years ago.
Yeah, and so it was like initially they're like, oh, we want you to come in, spend some time working on League, and then go try and develop new R&D games for Riot, and that was the original plan. But like, this is a couple months in, like you're saying, and it was like, it was about time from what, originally when I started, it was like time to transition. But I was loving working on League. I had really like meshed well with the team. And so then like a bunch of the League leadership guys came to me and girls, and they're like, oh, well, you could still do that thing that we had talked about and go work on other R&D games, or you could form this Champion Update team that we've been really hoping to do and really help push League, a new sort of side. And it's not like, and we will definitely get into this, I'm sure, later. It's not like reworks didn't exist, but like, let's really like make a team and let's make a really big run at it.
Yeah.
Well, sure. And that was the issue, is that, R&D, awesome. But at the same time, League is always evolving, and there was tons of stuff to do. And obviously that situation you're coming into, we had messed around with updates and reworks and the various other things we've called them. But there hadn't been a really concerted effort, And so in some cases, players weren't super happy about what we delivered.
Right.
And then you come into all that. Tell us what it's like.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that the goal of really forming this team, like a really solid team with like a bunch of designers and artists and sound people and production and engineers, and that's like really like investing in the future of this game. And I'm like, this is 2013. I'm like, League is far from over. Right. I'm like, this is like, I am so excited to be a part of that, because this is like the way that we can keep people engaged. We can do the thing. It's funny. The exact thing that brought me to League was, wow, how much this game has improved. That's like our mission. Sure. Right. And so someone could come. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, especially at the time, right? I think there was a big push within the community. It was like, hey, we're still releasing champions at a pretty fast rate at this point. Not like 2 weeks, but I think we're almost at like 3 weeks to a month.
And this is right as we're about to slow down.
Right. And so you start to get like Zach and Lysandra. I believe Thresh was the first champion of that year as well. And you have Thresh, right? Yeah. And then you have like Scion.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of the conversation that players are having is like, hey, you have this old dumpy stuff in your game, and all Riot cares about is the new stuff.
Right.
Because the new stuff is going to make the money. The new stuff is going to be this big deal. And really what we had for reworks at the time was just individual designers kind of taking on a project.
Right.
It was like we had a loose priority system.
And you experienced this, and I experienced this as well.
Yeah,
before,
right? Like I get to work on Karma. Shout outs to Karma. But you know, that was literally just like, hey, do you want to do a rework? And then here are the ones that we want to do. Go for it, right? And
Right.
so you ended up having a lot of characters that maybe got some, but they weren't fully supported. It wasn't really well communicated. And you compare that to something like Scion or Gangplank today.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, that seems so cohesive. That seems so together. And it's like, yeah, well, it was supported by the weight of this like huge development team. And that's really kind of what we're seeing out of the work that you guys are doing now.
Right. I mean, but the world before Champion Update was like the output, like the amount of updates we could do and the quality were both very hit and miss, right? You know, only one out of every 10 that, projects that a designer or artist started as a passion project would actually ever get through because there was never much structure around it. And so we were so slow and there were so many false starts. And then on the other side of that, because there wasn't a team supporting it and like sort of learning and growing together in like how to do these type of updates well, the quality was like, kind of like rolling the dice. And sometimes they were great. Sometimes they were okay. Sometimes they were bad, right? And it's like, and so when we started, we're like day one, like the big things that we wanted to focus on were just like, hey, we're going to be consistent. We're going to deliver champion updates, a lot of them, as many as we can regularly throughout the year. And we're going to like really take a hard look at our methods and learn how to do these right. Like 95% of the time instead of 50% of the time.
Sure. And I know early on that building that team thing was actually one of your guys' biggest challenges. You know, back before it was kind of a case of like, all right, this next update's coming up. Well, crap, we don't have an animator. They're all locked up.
Right.
Well, I guess we can't really do any art on this one.
Right.
And so, compare that to today where you guys basically have a full reinforced champion pod, essentially.
Right.
So whatever the situation calls for, whatever that specific champion needs, you guys are able to kind of, plan that out and deliver on it, yes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's funny because back in 2013 when the team sort of formed, it was still pretty small, and ever since then, and we just did what we could at that certain pace, and we'd be doing 7 or 8 updates a year, and it's like this big snowball rolling down the hill, and it's just been growing and growing and growing, and we're more than twice as big now, and we're doing way more than twice as many updates as we used to every year, including all sorts of crazy new angles that we didn't even imagine back then.
Yeah.
Sure.
I actually kind of want to talk about some of that stuff. Your team just, at the time of this recording, Gangplank, Fiora are two that just happened, the Juggernaut update as well, right? So there's kind of like smaller scale, or in some cases like Mordecai's actually like pretty significant.
Yeah.
What is some of the stuff that you guys are taking on now? Like, your team's double the size, right? What's under the trunk? What do you got?
Actually, the ones that you just mentioned is a great explanation for sort of how we're approaching it right now. And like when we look at the sort of roster of champions, I don't mean to say roster because that's kind of confusing, but when we look at the champions in the game that we think need updating, it's not a one-size-fits-all process, right? Someone like Scion or Poppy or Yorick, we're like, this character needs a full overhaul.
Yeah,
and
the whole thing.
Yeah, and so that's a really involved process, and it takes a certain group of people. You need a new, you need to write a new script for voice acting. You need to fully reanimate the character. You want to make a whole new model for the character. You want to overhaul their gameplay.
In a lot of ways, it's like it's a whole new identity.
Right. That is almost it's the new champion, right? Let's take what this champion sort of could be and what players sort of wish they could be and make that champion like from the ground up. And I specifically say what players wish they could be because this is one of the tough lessons that we've learned over the years.
Absolutely.
Where the first instinct of a game developer when you're like, let's update a champion is, go back to the day one when we first conceived it and like this is our creative vision. And it's like, we learned very quickly that matters zero. Like, I mean, it's pretty correlated with what players perceive of the character, but sometimes we originally thought, Aurelia was going to be one thing, and she ended up in players' sort of hearts and minds as something totally different.
Sure.
And so if we're going to update Aurelia, we need to care about what, is sacred to players, not what we originally intended.
Yeah, you guys have that crazy responsibility of having to manage both, the guy who has only played that character his entire League career and has posters of it on his wall, and the player who hasn't played that champion ever, or maybe doesn't even play League of Legends yet.
Right.
And what is the best decision for them going forward?
That's right.
And I remember a specific example that always comes to mind for me was Twitch.
Right.
We looked at him and we were like, well, okay, gameplay will be challenging, but on the art side, I mean, this guy doesn't even have any legs. Like literally, he didn't have legs.
Pancake rat.
He just
dude.
rocked back and forth. And so we just went about that artistic, challenge, and then we get to the end, and there's still some players being like, oh my gosh, you took away his look. I love that look. And I realized that day that you have a really intense challenge where that thing that is so off or so bad from our perspective that we can't possibly let go forward can actually be the thing that a player most loves about that champion.
That's exactly right, because even when we're taking something that we might think is like the worst possible thing we can even imagine and making it the best, there's some player out there that love that. They love that, sort of silly ping sound, or that, weird expression on Poppy's face, or that ugly splash art.
Oh my god.
Oh man, nightmare fuel.
I know someone out there loves it, but I will take it to my grave. I hate that thing.
We've got surprises in store with Lollipoppy, I think.
Oh my god.
Oh dear.
I hope.
Let's move into some of that stuff. You were talking a little bit about things you guys are working on, like how do you guys prioritize? What are some things coming up, and how do you even pick what you're going to be working on?
Yeah,
right.
Like how do you guys decide the big ticket ones, right? Because I think you alluded to there being like, oh, we kind of do different sizes of things, right? And I think all players kind of get the sense it's like, not all reworks are made equal.
Right.
But like, what are your big? What's the scions?
And when we're looking at the big ticket ones, our targets are like the top of the list, right? Who needs it the most? And we kind of balance our internal perception of this, of like, we'll get all the game designers together and we'll be like, what are the worst, farthest off kits for these characters? The ones that don't deliver at all on the cool sort of, character that you want them to be, and the ones that are just so confusing or so convoluted or so horribly, unfun to play against, right? And that's how we sort of create our stack rank. The artists do the same thing, like in terms of art quality, talk about like pizza feet on people like Tarek and stuff.
Pizza feet.
The pizza feet. And
Sivir had the most delicious. Sivir followed by Mordekaiser.
There are some pizza feet still. The list is dwindling though.
Yeah. Do we get to have a pizza party
when
all the pizza feet are done?
Should.
Stop it.
What? That would be perfect.
Well, we love it's really satisfying actually. This is I'm derailing this conversation, but the sort of conference rooms in the Riot HQ are all named after different champions, and they have little pictures of the champion splash on their computer monitors or whatever, and it's so satisfying when we update something that is just awful. And we used to have a lot of meetings in the Scion conference room.
Dude, I was so pissed that room didn't change for months after the update.
know.
I felt like.
And when it finally did, we're like, oh, just we no longer have to look at Arnold and whatever else is going on there. Oh, jeez.
Who is your stamina? I know, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Rip.
He lives
Rip.
on in our hearts.
Rip.
And so, like, we've got this back to the question about how do we prioritize these big, these really big overhauls, and we've got our list, and I think this is about 90% accurate to what players would say, but we also care a lot about what players might think is their list, and we actually did an interesting study very recently where we gave a survey to like thousands of players, totally randomly selected, so it should be pretty representative, where it's like, list your top 3 champions you would like to see us do an update on, with the option of not listing 3 if they don't think that we should do any. And we just turned those responses. I think most everyone did 3. I didn't see the individual.
There's some guys out there, though,
scorecards.
more new champions, more new skins. Always forward.
Right.
If I had taken that, I would have just said ribbon 3 times.
Ribbon 3 times. I don't know if that was an option, but
I would make
write it
work.
in. Other.
Yeah, I'd
obligatory. Did you lose to a ribbon recently? Joke.
Hasn't everyone lost to a ribbon recently?
Exactly.
Do you play League of Legends? Then yes, you have. No, please. So what? Tell me.
And so we made this
results.
word cloud. We made a word cloud, and it was like there were clear winners. And this makes us super happy because there were 3 enormous words, and there were another 3 that were like kind of medium sized, and then everything else was like tiny. And so the top 3, and this is as of today.
Stop teasing the players, man. Get to it.
Top 3: Poppy, Tarek, and Yorick.
Oh,
that's our top 3.
what's that last one?
Yorick.
Who's that?
Who's that?
No, I'm kidding.
What's that?
What's a Yorick? Okay, so interesting. So what did you guys do with that information?
Well, and so this is like, we're doing this constantly, and we had been making decisions before, and this is our sort of most recent poll.
Sure.
But that information perfectly lined up with our sort of current projects.
Really?
And we're like deep in with Poppy. We're getting, very near to the end of that. And we're like ramping up significantly on Tarek, which we hope is next. And then we've got Yorick like right after. And it's like,
It's actually happening.
it's actually happening.
Because there is, I swear,
There was some false starts.
it's like a curse in some way that there's one person's like, they'll get to Riot and they're relatively new and they're like, I want to work on the Yorick rework.
Yeah.
Oh, of course,
And everyone is like, God bless you. Go forth, sweet summer child, and find that out. And it's just so hard. The character is difficult from a thematic perspective.
Right,
It's difficult from an art perspective. It's difficult from a design perspective.
Right.
Right. And then even the literal mechanics of like coding Yorick.
He's a mess.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, he's
and
a
so
mess.
it's probably one of our biggest challenges to face. And I certainly won't spoil anything. I won't say anything more. I've seen some of the concepts done by my good friend Josh Smith over on the Champion Update team.
He's a monster.
And I am super excited. I'm like couching that excitement. I'm
Keep
like,
the hype.
I'm keeping
Keep
it there.
in check.
I'm
Keep it
keeping
in
it there,
check.
and then it's gonna like release all
Yeah,
at the same
yeah.
time, and I'm just gonna become
I am both
too
excited, of course, and terrified because he's a weird champ. And like I said, those weird elements are the things that, as a community guy, make me worry about all those listeners
Right.
out there. I know there's some guy who's like, don't touch my Yorick.
Yeah.
Don't you dare touch my Yorick.
Well-
and we got to respect that as a thing. We got to figure out the way to take what he loves,
Right.
and just bring it up to par technically and fitting into what League is today.
And we've had that conversation many times with a lot of these sort of bottom tier champs are weird. And instead of like, we could make Yorick a super awesome anime hero, likable guy, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, sure, his appeal would be much better.
Yorick is a samurai now, and he has one scar over his left eye,
Right.
and silver hair, and an angel wing.
Right.
And that's
Just one.
Right, exactly.
Just
Just what?
one.
Yeah,
His
just
play rate just like quintupled. And it's like, but that wouldn't be like, where's the connection to Yorick? And so instead we want to embrace that stuff and like, how do we turn what he is, into something that is appealing in its own way, in a very unique way. And for someone like Scion, who was unappealing, but we're like, we're going to really encapsulate that undead sort of badass. And so he was just like super serious, but like there's satisfaction in just being this like, monstrous juggernaut that just like has like very little care.
He's one of my favorite characters in the game, and I think always will be at this point. I love Scion. I want to ask you some questions about Poppy specifically because, well, there's something I want to pull out what you said. You were like, these bottom tier characters, and Poppy I actually think is a little tough,
right?
Because of the 3 that we just mentioned, Poppy may be the most powerful of them.
Right.
Right? Like, she's actually pretty good.
Right.
She's pretty useful right now in terms of, like, just, ults your support and then beats the hell out of you forever and can't be hit by anything, right? And it was actually, I saw a video recently on the subreddit that was kind of like, hey, here's my guide to playing Poppy before Riot reworks her and kind of takes her away. And so I know Poppy is a fierce fan base, is I think almost probably the best example of what we've been talking about the people who really love her kind of feeling of like you can turn the tables, you can kind of even the odds, even though she's small, even though she's unpopular, right? Like I can be a Poppy player. And so has that specific flavor, the kind of the special feeling you get for being a unique Poppy player, the kind of snowflakes. How has that driven your decisions throughout this process so far, with whatever you can share?
Well, at the start of any one of these projects, what we try to do is look at the live champion, in this case Poppy, and reduce it down to the sort of the core things that sort of make Poppy Poppy on live. And not even getting super specific on like a skill or like a feature on her armor or something like that. But it's like, oh, I am this small Yordle in like heavy armor with like big weapons and attitude, right? I'm this like I'm very small, but I'm very scary, right? And I pack a lot of punch.
Yeah, everyone's scared of me.
Right.
That's got to be
Yeah,
there.
exactly. And I push around the bigger characters, and it's like all about this sort of really unexpected, and that's an endearing quality because you're this sort of David versus Goliath character, right? You're this like this big things come in a small package character.
Yeah, and everyone tries to crush you and do damage to you, and you're invincible
you're
for
so
100
tanky
reasons, right?
and
It's like somehow the more effort people put into trying to destroy Poppy, the less successful they
That's
become.
right. Yeah. And she's just relentless, right? You know, she won't die and she won't stop. And so that was our sort of foundation. And then when we get deeper and we're like analyzing her kit, like almost like piece by piece, right? That means different things for us in different cases. Some things we say, oh, you know what? This is a great spell. We like it. It has, it's satisfying. It has good decision making. It's not, overly frustrating for the opponent, and it fits Poppy. They could just stay, right? Things like her heroic charge, we're like, wow, this is like so Poppy. This is a key Poppy moment.
Yeah,
like
slamming things in the wall.
We don't even need to touch it.
Yeah,
right?
dash and smash. Like you might have to change the specific mechanics or add a little
like
bits to
numbers
it, but
here and
dash
there,
and
but
smash
like,
stays. That has
totally,
to, right?
exactly.
Yeah, there's the feeling of Poppy being faster than you and not attacking you at first because she's running past you.
She's lining up the pool
and
shot.
you're like, oh no, oh no, there's nothing I can do.
I've been flanked.
Yeah,
right.
Oh my god,
that whole moment is key.
No, it's terrifying. It's very marquee to the character. I think
that's good to hear. But so what you're saying is, I imagine these are kind of the culprits. The whole like, oh, I magically take half damage for no apparent reason, or I spawn a golden bubble that it makes me invulnerable for a long time and doubles my damage against you.
Right.
Just stuff like that is a little less core to the personality.
Well, I think that you could argue that they're core, and we had to handle both of those, what we would have identified as gameplay problems, differently.
Sure.
The passive, right, which is like this extremely convoluted sort of mechanic that gives her damage reduction based on the hit.
I want to lay it out because it is insane.
It's insane.
If you've never known what Poppy's passive is, you will learn today. If you would take damage, and that damage is more than 10% of your current health.
That's right.
It's halved.
We're grasping onto the sort of emotional highs of as I'm low on health, I really don't want to die, right? I really am going to fight.
Yeah, I'm going to hold on at this moment. I'm going to make my stand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so in this case, it's like, great, we're going to preserve that element of Poppy. It's not going to be that mechanic, not even close, right? It's going to be totally redone, but hopefully it delivers on that same experience in a much more clear and like just representable way.
Sure.
Right.
So there's that one brand of insanity.
Yes.
Let's talk about the other brand of insanity.
That's right.
With the ult. I got to imagine there's going to be some hefty changes in store there.
Right. And this ult is, it has a lot of different problems, and we could talk about a few of the key ones. It's sort of its main use case is this sort of definitely not intended in the original design, sort of exploitative feeling thing where I say to the enemy team, well, only your support can damage me now for a ridiculously long time, and I'm going to go kill your ADC without them having any recourse or any option to stop me. And this is just like, if there was one reason why Poppy is on our top 3 list and the player voted top 3 list of champions that need an update, it's probably this
Sure.
this spell.
Yeah.
What's some of the stuff that gets added? You know, we're talking about some things that got to disappear. What are you doubling down on?
Well, in some ways, I don't want to spoil too much,
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
But like,
Please, if you can.
if I can.
Whatever you can say, I don't want to pry.
Yeah. And so like
There's not, you know, a
Right.
ton of people listening right now saying, "Tell us, Mark."
right. And when you're when you're taking something as for the Poppy player as, you know, kind of crazy and powerful as that ultimate or other things going on, like the W is like just kind of boring and there's a lot of opportunity there to make it more interesting. You need to replace it with something equally crazy and equally fun. And so like we really are dipping heavily into this fantasy of this, you know, sort of small character with so much punch, right? And she is like she doesn't like, she tells everyone else where to go. She's going to body check you into a wall and stun you. That feeling, we're going to like push a lot more in that direction, I would say.
Interesting. So a little bit more of kind of controlling and directing enemy
Right.
movement, you're saying?
Right. There's a lot of physicality.
Gotcha.
There's a lot of
I'm
that.
just gonna ask this one question, yes or no question. I've seen the ultimate. Do you think it's sufficiently insane?
I think is one of the most insane things
Are you,
I have ever seen.
the hell you see? You guys holding out on me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, well, I and the many players out there are pissed officially now.
Well, he just said it's insane.
It's
I know.
insane.
No, I can't wait to see it. I'm gonna have to go
pretty
find
bananas.
that out.
You know,
it's
we're like-
pretty goofy.
We're like hooking up the final art for it in these reviews, and we've been reviewing this spell for like, you know, a month or something, and even today, like literally right before this, we're looking at it, and everyone's just like chuckles just watching it happen because it's so
you
crazy.
see it in game, and you just hear people laughing or yelling in fights. They're like, "What?"
All right, you guys are torturing me. Stop. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm done. I'm done with this.
Look,
I'm gonna spare the listeners.
The
I'm
thing
gonna
I'm
spare the
trying
listeners.
to get to the players out there. Confirmed by Mark Yetter. This ult is bananas.
It's
Okay,
bananas.
well, that's good to know. All right.
BANANAS.
Yeah.
Well, we are kind of getting towards the time we're gonna have to wrap up. I do have to ask really quickly
Yes.
though, my boy Tarek.
Right.
I only care about one thing: what's happening to Armor of the Fifth Age Tarek.
Oh, Armor of the Fifth Age Tarek is. I mean, nothing is set
That
in
is
stone.
Pink
We're
Tarek
still-
for those of you out there.
Does he
Pink
keep
Tarek.
the fuzzy boots?
I think so. I hope so.
Bless.
Right? I mean, no, we haven't made any sort of like, oh, we know exactly what he's going to look like calls, but it's like we looked at Armor of the Fifth Age Tarek and we're like, what is this all about? Right? It's about him being this crazy sort of fuzzy boots, pink, you know, kind of fabulous like idol. And so
Yeah,
it's like, why don't
sure.
we just
Idol.
own that?
Yeah, idol. That's a
Right.
good way
It's
to put it.
basically pop star Tarek.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in a
totally.
way, right? Like
everybody look at me while I beat the hell out of you.
Right. He was
Okay.
pop star sort of before it was cool.
yeah, before there was pop star.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks to all you guys out there listening. As you can tell, this is pretty new, and we want to hear what you guys have to think regarding topics, you know, what we're doing, how terrible I and Patrick are. So let us know, guys, and thanks for listening.